you better sing. Where is Monifa? How's Monifa doing? Where's she been? Wasn't she on Hip Hop R&B Divas or something? Wasn't that Monifa on there? Baby, what happened to Monifa? She had all them problems, huh? Her daughter and stuff. What show was that? Was that R&B Divas? Anyways, what's up, y'all? It's me, Erica. It is Mercury's Day. It's Wednesday. We are down here to talk about some hot topics, honey. The people are acting up. We back in the house again. California has been shut down again. Because of the people don't know what they're doing. They not doing things the right way. So, but still keep up your same routine. Be mindful. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. Can't nobody keep you from doing nothing you don't want to do. Every day we take a risk when we walk out the door, honey. So if you want to increase your risk, do what you want to do. Do whatever you want to do. I can't tell people what to do, child. I can't tell people what to do. Y'all grown. I want to come back and say, yes, Monifa. Okay, that was R&B Divas. Yeah, that girl was singing her heart out, honey. Okay, so let's talk about it. So first things first, Nick Cannon got fired, y'all. Nick Cannon, I'm not laughing at him getting fired, but I'm laughing because he did an interview with Professor Griff, from Public Enemy, with leader of the S1W. Shout out to the S1Ws. I used to love Public Enemy. I used to really love the S1Ws. I used to think young Professor Griff was a cutie pie, honey. He was so little, he was a cutie pie. But he has a lot of ideas that are very Hotep-ish. I'm just going to say it straight out. But it's mixed with some, a lot of that stuff is mixed with truth. It's just the intention on why these people have these views and how they believe what their existence is. Okay. And I'm not here to argue that. So he was on Nick Cannon. Look at the crows fighting. He was on Nick Cannon's whatever it's called. I watched it last night because they announced that he got fired from Viacom CBS after he failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetrating anti-Semitism. Viacom CBS confirmed it has terminated its relationship with its Wildin' Out host, Nick Cannon, after he failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism. The company was referring to comments Cannon made during a recent episode of his podcast, Cannon's Class. In the series, he says he has no hate in his heart, and on a series of posts on his Twitter account, he says he has no hate in his heart and that he does not condone hate speech nor the spread of hateful rhetoric, but he didn't apologize. So it says, we've spoken to Nick Cannon about an episode of his podcast on YouTube which promoted hateful speech and spread anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Because it's not true to them. Because, honey, let me tell you something. While we support ongoing education and dialogue in the fight against bigotry, we are deeply troubled that Nick has failed to acknowledge or apologize for perpetuating anti-Semitism. And we are terminating our relationship with him. We are committed to doing better in our response to incidents of anti-Semitism, racism, and bigotry. Viacom will have further announcements on our efforts to combat hate of all kinds. Fox TV, Lionsgate, and producer of actor Nick Cannon's upcoming daytime talk show are remaining silent about the TV host's recent anti-Semitic tirade. But it wasn't a tirade. That's the crazy part. Because I was like, let me go see what they're talking about. Because I watched the interview with Tamera Mowry. And I talked about it a little bit on my Twitter account. On my Twitter account. And I liked that interview. I thought it was a pretty good interview. I thought she used him in an example because, I've always had critiques. I'm not going to say we. I've had critiques about Nick Cannon's approach to his access to whiteness and his now he has a chance, or now he's allowed to sleep with white women. So I had critiques about him and his stance, and I find him extremely corny, although I know that Nick is very successful in media and has been I mean, he started so young. But then, you know, you see people evolve, they grow, they learn, they, change their views and all of that stuff. And that happens. So I've always had little criticisms of Nick Cannon. I just think he's extremely corny, because I used to think, like, what the hell was him and Mariah talking about? What would they be talking about? Like, what does that conversation go? How does that go? How does that conversation go? Like, and I don't know. So it seems that he's he started wearing a turban. A lot of people attribute it to his autoimmune issue. I think he has lupus, if I'm not mistaken. I think people attributed him starting to wear this turban. So then other people were saying, well, maybe he's on some Hotep shit. And then we started hearing him and his views about different things. And like, oh, Nick's been reading some books. And then I noticed he was it had to be him. Nick was at the Farrakhan 4th of July address to the world, right? So you could see you could tell what people are learning about based on what they talk about, right? And it's just what it is, right? Some people don't agree. Some people agree. He's getting his knowledge from somewhere. So Professor Griffin, if you know anything about Public Enemy, and you know anything about the Nation of Islam and Gods of the Earth and the 5%ers and all this, you know all of these things, and you know that that's the culture and the ideologies, and it's a lot of it is Hotep, and and that's what it is, right? So he has Professor Griff on the show, and what I saw was Nick Cannon giving context to the idea or the illusion of the birth to the illusion of white supremacy and white superiority. He was giving a lot of context. He did talk about the 6 corporations. He did talk about the 13 families. He did talk about these things. And to me, I feel like it's really messed up that any criticism of Jewish people is seen as anti-Semitic. I think it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, I just think it's ridiculous. You act like you can't criticize this group of people because of their suffering and their suffrage and all this, but then you own companies and systems that allow for the erasure of black people who have gone through the worst of the suffrage. And when people say things about black people, it's like, no, that's not racist. That's not racist at all. It don't have anything to do with it. But as soon as somebody mentions something, then it's like, oh my God, it's anti-Semitic. Why? Because they run the corporations. And these are facts, right? Now, embedded in some of his shit was some Hotep shit, right? And the people didn't like it. I'm going to play you some clips. I feel like Nick was given context. I'll let the brothers take up for him. But the people there, I saw some nigga on Twitter talking about, what'd he say? Dr. Lawan Fuller, a retired military with a PhD in business, a professor, dissertation chair, and small business owner. Okay, with an American flag in his backdrop. He says, to everyone watching, please remember Nick doesn't speak for all black people. I love, respect, and work with all people. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Therefore, if it is wrong for one race, it is wrong for all the races, to include black people. Forgive him because he is lost. You dancing ass nigga. What? Are you fucking crazy? Nigga, you don't talk for all black people. Like, shut the fuck up. And why you feel like you got to apologize to white people is beyond me. Let me get back to Nick. Okay, here's one clip.
Coming out of Europe, they then said, in order for us to survive, we have to take what's not ours. And then they went into the land that actually where we are originated, and instead of trying to make friends, they said, we want what you got, because there's this mentality of whether it's the Caesars or even that we have to conquer.
Right.
So I say all that to say the context, and when we speak of whether it's Jewish people, white people, Europeans, the Illuminati, they were doing that as survival tactics
Right.
to stay on this planet.
Right, because
we never had to do that.
Right, because they've learned when they circumnavigated the globe and they ran into these islands and these places, and we were already there to greet them.
Right. With open arms.
With open arms, teaching them, but then
But
when
they were deficient.
They were deficient, so they wanted to get what they thought we had, and we did have it. So the rape took place of the woman. The theft took place of the natural resources.
And then that's when their disease,
Exactly.
that's when their mentality, because I'm trying to get to that place of how they were able to get control over the gods. How they were able to get control over their
once they
original
learned that, though, and now they raped and impregnated, left and came back, and they saw the child lighter, they said, wow, that's when they learned genetics. Genetic annihilation. So now you have to set up a system of white supremacy to control that.
Right.
So now we have 13 families here, Illuminati that's manipulating and controlling. Subgroups. Now we got to set up organizations.
Coming out of Europe.
You understand what I'm saying? And for that same system, now you're talking about survival. What you just laid out. Now it's fight or flight. Now we have to set up these systems in order to survive.
Right.
But listen, not just survive to get some damn some hamburger buns and some cheese. I'm talking about on a genetic level.
On the genetic, because they will, and that's even from the white nationalists to the white supremacy mentalities to Donald Trump himself wanting to build walls.
Right.
They're trying to keep their what they consider purity.
Exactly, on a subconscious
trying to stay
level.
alive.
Because sometimes.
Okay. Yes, come on, Casey. Sorry, that scared the hell out of me, y'all. Woo, forever my lady. Okay, so what do y'all think? That's one clip, right? Okay. Here, I have another clip. Let's see. Here we go.
A 6 foot tall, 230-pound black man, the same as they do a 4-year-old.
Yep.
Because in us is the genetic material to annihilate them.
Ooh, and that it's their fear of God.
It's their fear.
It's their fear of God.
Exactly.
And then for everybody, because I'm bringing it back in context again, because just so you know, we keep referencing, you know, the great Dr.
You heard him say, I'm bringing back in context.
That book, the ISIS Papers. If you haven't, it's essential. And in Griff's book first, get the work she read up on, and they're all thinking and compelling that, yeah.
You take pride in your tribe.
And I just came back from Uganda, and it's so, when you look at it, they don't say, hey, I'm African.
Exactly, they don't, right.
I'm from Uganda, or
right.
I'm from where my family, they don't, we call it Africa. Like,
right. Let's look at America.
I mean,
Same thing with the brothers in Africa. They don't identify with the whole idea that the place was called Africa.
Yeah, they tell you they tribe.
It was more tribal, man. And right now,
so that's you hear the type of conversation that they were having, right? And in that conversation, they talked about, Nick wanted Professor Griff, if he would let him talk, he wanted Professor Griff to give context as to how did black people go from that to this? How did white people take over black people? That is what he was trying to get him to say, but he was talking so damn much. So Viacom, and amongst other things that he was talking about, you can go watch the interview. It's about 90 minutes. So at the end of the day, he got fired. He didn't apologize. I wouldn't have now. Would I have apologized? I wouldn't have apologized either. What I would do is ask them to point out the anti-Semitic rhetoric. Also, let me see. Let me get to where this is another part.
Exactly, and blood is blue until oxygen, the air hit it, and it turns red.
Right.
Democrat, Republican Party.
You see
the exactly.
You see the kind of conversation.
Hegelian dialectic principle.
Yeah.
The opposing forces controlled by the same people.
Right. So then let's go to what it really is then. When we talk about the power of melanated people, when we talk about who we really are as gods, and understanding that our melanin is so powerful and it connects us in a way that the reason why they fear black, the reason why they fear is because the lack that they have of it. So then when you see what, Dr. Francis C. Welsing talked about.
Do you see the conversation?
fear and that
just genetic annihilation,
deficiency of when you have a person that has the lack of pigment, the lack of melanin, that they know that they will be annihilated. So therefore, however they got the power, they have the lack of compassion. That melanin comes with compassion. Melanin comes with soul. That we call it soul. We soul brothers and sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say carefully, sisters. That's the melanin that connects us. So the people that don't have it are a little, and I'm gonna say this carefully, are a little less. And where the term actually comes from, because I'm bringing it all the way back around to Minister Farrakhan, to where they may not have the compassion or the when they were sent to the mountains of Caucasus, when they didn't have the power of the sun, that the sun then started to deteriorate them. So then they're acting out of fear. They're acting out of low self-esteem. They're acting out of a deficiency. So therefore, the only way that they can act is evil. The only way they have to rob, steal, rape, kill, and fight.
But do you hear?
In order to survive.
Exactly.
So then these people who didn't have what we had, and when I say we, I speak of the melanated people. Right. They had to be savages. They had to be barbaric. Because they're in these Nordic mountains. They're in these rough, torrential environments. So
this is Nick talking. So, but he's
so they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. And then they built up
you didn't hear what he just said. Listen.
So they're acting as animals. So they're the ones that are actually closer to animals. They're the ones that are actually the true savages. And then they built up such this I don't want to say warrior, but they built up such this conquering barbaric mentality that
so that's where they say he's being
Europe,
racist.
They then said, in order for us to survive, we have to take what's not ours. And then,
so do you hear the conversation? But do you hear what he's talking about? So they fired him. Okay. Nick Cannon is not having Wildin' Out. Now, while his comments have affected a lot of people in their job, he employs a lot of people on Wildin' Out. Maybe he will take his show to Revolt. All right. Those are the comments. So you can hear the conversation. You guys need to listen to the whole thing. You could go hear the clips that they are playing that is supporting what they're saying. Because, you can clip things up. They do it on Sunday. Those lessons, they use the same Bible for the same different things, different lessons. I'm going to clip this, and this is the lesson that I want to teach. This is the story that I want to tell. So I'm going to use this clip, and here's my story. So that's what's happening with Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon is not suffering. He's not going to suffer. Nick Cannon. And then he talked about how black people cannot be anti-Semitic because the term Semitic religions most commonly refers to as Abraham's religion, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Semitic religions may also refer to ancient Semitic religion, polytheic, Abrahamic religions practiced by Semitic cultures. So he's saying, how can I be anti-Semitic? First of all, how can you be anti-Semitic if you're Christian or Jewish or of course of Jewish or Muslim? How? If it all comes from one thing. But they didn't like it. So see you later. Let me look up Nick Cannon's work. Nick Cannon ain't hurting for nothing. And that's one of the things that I know we want to eat the rich, but that's one of the things that money provides you with, is that people who are controlling the entities where you are employed, they have a power to say, go. I don't like what you said. It doesn't match with our mission and values. We don't want to employ you anymore. And they have every right to do it. They have, from their standpoint, they have every right to do it. If he doesn't feel they have a right to do it, he can go find him a Jewish lawyer and see how that works out for him. Because that's what I would do. I would say, point out what I said that was anti-Semitic. And then let me tell you how I'm Semitic, so therefore I cannot be anti-Semitic. So now you have a wrongful termination. So now let me go get my Jewish lawyer and let's go. $30 million. $30 million. 39 years old. Nick Cannon has created, I don't know, that's why I used to always be like, Nick Cannon gets on my nerves, but in terms of how and that's how we can get on a conversation about men in business and how they do well in business and not so much in relationship, but we can talk about that another day. So he's done well in business. He does, if Viacom says we don't want to work with you anymore, it's like, okay, well, and I don't have to apologize. Because I don't give a fuck about your company for real. I just really needed you to broadcast a show for me. But I could really take my show somewhere else. And that's where that money equals power and privilege, right? I mean, we know that's basic arithmetic. And that's, can you imagine him, like the people who are losing their jobs for saying racist things? They can't be like, okay, well, I ain't apologizing for nothing. I'm out here, whatever I gotta say, I got my turban on and whatever. That affords him that, right? And that's it. Let me know what y'all think about Nick Cannon getting fired or the Viacom releasing their contract with Nick Cannon. The people that are apologizing to white people for what Nick Cannon said, go fuck yourselves. Like, that is so fucking stupid to me. And there are people now, there are some things that he, like I said, there are some things that he said that was very Hotep-ish. So, you know, you're going to see what they fired him for, but you can tell just by Professor Griff being there, you already know, if you know Professor Griff and Public Enemy, and you know that vibration. But if you've seen Professor Griff recently, who was just married, Soleil, like, what, about 6 months ago? I think right before the quarantine they got married, or maybe a long time ago, or maybe that's when I found out. But anyways, him and Soleil, you know, the lady that used to be married to Genuine, and she's a healer, goddess, queen, fairy, godmother. She's that, all of that, and he's all of that, and they have that mentality. You know, Erykah Badu shares those kind of but when you start learning about Egypt, and when you get that information, you start, your mind starts expanding, and you're reading books from people, and you're like, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? And so when I saw what Nick was doing was, yes, he might agree with everything what he was saying, but what he was doing was talking too much. One, not allowing Professor Griff, because if Professor Griff can have all of those views that you had, so that's why you bring him on to be the voice, right? You provide the platform, and that's where you can kind of see, like, fuck, Nick, like, damn, you really have a platform, but you really don't have a platform. You could take your shit somewhere else, because that platform is yours and you own it. That's the beauty of it. Okay, I'll take Wildin' Out someplace else to Revolt. That's black owned, so go over there. And maybe that's what people need to be doing, because a lot of people are not really fucking with Revolt, and Revolt really wasn't given enough access to enough channels so that it can be successful. It was really, they really set up Revolt to fail. If you really read about it and see how they did Revolt, maybe that's what these black shows need to do, is go to Revolt or OWN, or to stations or channels that are owned by black people. But anyway, so let me know what you think about Nick. It's a long interview. Do you think he should have been fired? Do you agree with what he said? Do you understand why he got fired, right? What do you think about this? I want to know what you guys think about it. Like I said, I think he just talked too much, and it was almost like he was a student, and he was excited, to be across from somebody with a lot of information, and he was trying to get him to talk, and he spent so much time providing context that you could hear he did a lot of talking. So let me know what y'all think about it. Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion got arrested. They were at Kylie Jenner's house at a party. Even during the clip of them at Kylie Jenner's house, the cops were outside. because the music was too loud. So they were probably just waiting for them to leave. Apparently, there was a gun in a car and they got arrested. And I don't know what else to say. Megan Thee Stallion is a young diva. She's young. A lot of people are upset because she was hanging out with Kylie Jenner and she's friends with Jordan. And because the history of Kardashian and Jenners and how they treat black women, everybody's mad at Megan for hanging out with Kylie. I don't understand why it is. I don't understand. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. You guys, if you guys think that, I don't understand. The people that you don't think hang around with Kim and Khloe and all them, they do. They do. They do. Black people be hanging around with the Kardashians. And for anybody to assume that these people are not hanging out, I just don't understand why you would be mad at Megan. Like, why would you be mad at Megan for hanging out with Kylie Jenner? Knowing Kylie Jenner's history, knowing her family's history, why are you mad at Megan? That's her circle of friends. You want her to hang out with you? Who do you want her to hang around with? That's one. Number two, is it a bad publicity to be around them? Or is it good publicity to be around the Kardashians? Do you think maybe she might be using Kylie Jenner's reach and influence? Do you think that might be the reason why she's hanging around with them? You know, I think a lot of people who hang around with the Kardashians hang around with them for a, not clout, but like a social status. It's like a status, you know. And another thing, the more money you get, the fewer values you have. So if you feel like your values should be embedded in Megan Thee Stallion for hanging around Kylie Jenner, she doesn't have the same values as you. Your bank accounts look different. So your values are not going to be the same. And that's the bottom line, right? And whether you like your morals, you are judging somebody on your morals and your values based on what you have or not. And those people are living their lives based on what they have or not. And their morals are going to align with that. And the more money you have, the fewer values and morals you have. You could argue with me. You could say you disagree. That's how I feel. You could look at a Jeffrey Epstein who, when he bought an island, he said, I can do whatever I want out here. I can be myself. And that self was somebody with no morals, no compass, no, just pure darkness. And he was who he wanted to be. And his money allowed him that. So when you talk about people having money and the weird shit that they do, child, that's just what it is, okay? And that's just what it is. So don't be mad at Megan Thee Stallion. She probably wouldn't hang around with Kylie if she was in your circle. She wouldn't be. The more money she has, the more access she has to things and the circles that you run in. She was having a good time. I'm more concerned about the gun in the car with Tory Lanez. That's what I'm more concerned about. Fuck Kylie and them. I'm more concerned about this man she was with driving around. Now, I don't know if they're in a relationship. I don't know. That, like I said the other day, if Megan has a publicist, the publicist probably say, go hang out with the Kardashians. That's going to give you more view. The people that watch them will move over to you. That's the goal. Do you understand what I'm saying? So people hang around, and at the end of the day, these people are not friends. It's more of a, these are my associate with this group of people. I'll move to this group of people. When I find out they ain't really, the people are not really liking what they're doing, I'll move over to this group of people. Jordan might not have enough value to get Megan to where she wants to go. Are they friends? Probably not. Were they? I don't know. I don't care. Okay. Okay. So that's where she was. All right. Tamera Mowry is leaving The Real. And I thought it was going to be Lonnie. I really thought Lonnie was going to be after. Amanda left. I thought it was going to be Lonnie. And I'm thinking to myself, girl, what the hell are Lonnie, Jeannie Mai, and Adrian gonna talk about? And that's Lonnie's show. I know she has a book that just came out, but the show idea, that was Lonnie's show. I think Lonnie wants her own show. I think that's what's happening. I don't know, because I can't picture. I don't watch The Real. I will watch clips on YouTube if the title catches my eye, but I'm not interested, because what they really talk about, and that's why Amanda didn't fit there, because it was really like non-threatening women of color sitting around talking about Marie Claire and Cosmopolitan articles and playing Price is Right games. That's what it is. When Amanda got on there, that she wanted, because you can't have a show, frou-frou and cotton candy and popcorn all the time with what's going on in the world. You cannot do it. But Amanda coming on, they brought Amanda on the show for that, right? But Amanda is too much for them, because just like that clip they showed when they first went into the pandemic and Ahmaud Arbery was killed, and she came onto the screen crying, and they're like, why are you crying? Why are you crying, Amanda? What's going on? And she's like, this man, a black man, just got murdered and he was ran down on the street, and she's crying, and they're like, oh my God, why? Oh. No clue. So Amanda was just too much for that show. I really thought Lonnie was going to be next, but it's Tamera. I was like, what, Tamera, why you leave, girl? I imagine that she has other opportunities. I watched a video of her. Her and her husband have a YouTube channel. And, interracial couples on YouTube channels do very, very, very well. Very well. Do you hear me? They do very, very well. And I was like, let me go and see what Adam and Tamera are talking about, right? That's his name. Is his name Adam? I don't know, child. I just made the nigga's name up. Is his name Adam? I could really just look it up. What's his name? And y'all was messed up the other day when it was their birthday on the 6th of July. It was their birthday, and everybody was wishing Tia a happy birthday and not wishing Tamera a happy birthday. Yeah, his name is Adam. Okay, good. So I said, let me go see what they talking about. Baby, the first of all, the damn video was sponsored by census.gov. Okay? I said, okay. I see what's going on here. And then I'm looking at the other, I'm like, oh, a lot of these videos are just recent, like a surge. And I'm sure she had a channel, because she has a lot of subscribers. I'm sure that she had a channel. I think it was, I feel like she was talking about babies before when she was I don't know. I feel like I've seen YouTube videos of her being pregnant. But now they have the children are a little bit bigger. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where she might be going the YouTube route, right? Other opportunities. Shout out to Tamera. And everything can't last. Like the other day, yesterday, I was on Twitter, and Crystal, I haven't listened to the last episode of The Read, but I guess Crystal and Kid Fury said that, The Read is going to come to an end. And everything ends. That's the problem with us now. Shit don't last forever. That forever shit they be selling y'all is a myth. Things end. Get rid of your idea of permanence. It's a myth. Nothing is forever. Nothing is forever. The only thing that's forever is your energy. That's it. That's it. Dead and gone, energy goes. Right? That's the only thing that just keeps going and going and going and going and going around. Going around. Everything else ends. Everything dies. Everything comes to an end. Okay? Like I said, remove the idea of permanence in your mind. Nothing is permanent. Things end. When you realize that and release your attachments to things. There's so many things that we have attachments to. Like, it's wild. It's, if you think about the things that we attach, we attach our identities to, all of these things we're attached to so much. But release your idea of permanence. Things have to end. People are like, why is the read ending? It has to end. Everything. None of this stuff gonna last, child. Look at that dog. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at you. Oh, yes. You heard him barking at me. It's one of them little furry looking dogs. You know, they look like real soft, real tiny. I don't know. Is it a I don't know if it's that's not a Pomeranian, is it? It's like fuzzy, but it's not all of this hair, but he has a fuzzy. So cute. Oh my God, it's so cute. Anyways, but that's what it is. Okay, good. The dog broke me up because on my little tirade. Okay, what else we got going on? Tory Lanez, man, what's her name? Tamera, she's leaving. What else? What else is going on? Something else that I wanted to say. But yeah, Alexis Giondi, she is an author. She is going to make a video to add to how Hotep ideologies and white supremacy has, white supremacist ideologies have similar precepts and similar goals, right? So it's gonna, she has, if you, I'll share a link to a clip of, she starts off with 5 parallels that white supremacist ideologies and Hotep type of ideologies, or black supremacist, black nationalist ideologies kind of align with each other. And I'll put the link in the description. Anyways, you guys, so what do you think about Tamera? And what do you think about Megan? And do you find it an issue that she's hanging out with Kylie? What's more of the issue, that she's hanging out with Kylie, or that she's got arrested with this nigga and a gun? Like, what? I mean, you know, what is it, you know? And do you understand what I'm saying about, like, the more money you have, the less values you have? And that's how I just feel like that. Not values, but morals. Like, things that if you the less money you have, the more religious you are. The more spiritual, it's really more religious, right? Wherever you go in the world, and it's a poor area, they're very religious, right? The more money you get, that's why when I be looking at white people in church and stuff, and singing and having a choir, I be like, y'all fake. Like, this shit just look fake to me. There's no soul, there's no spirit, it just looks fake and forced. It looks forced. And then when you see Trump saying, you know, and like Mike Pence, like that kind of crazy, that stuff, them people are crazy. But you see how they say they're God-fearing, they say they're all of this, but then they're very evil. Like, they do things that wouldn't be considered. And it's almost like they use it as a God, as a shield, right? It's God. I mean, this is a Christian country, and this is you know what I mean? And it's just, but you could see the more money you have, the less they believe in God, the less they believe in or have some kind of spiritual foundation. I mean, if you think about it, the poorer you are, the more religious you are, the richer you are, the less you are closer to God. Let me know what you think. That's how I feel. That's why I don't be believing the evangelists and all that stuff. I don't believe none of them. Now, while they might be great storytellers and good, you know, teachers, they might, you know what I'm saying? But the two don't match. And then they lie and say there's a separation between church and state, but you are trying to keep women from having autonomy over their body, that you want to be able to control whether or not she has a baby or not, but then trying to say it's against religion, but it's like it's so convoluted. It's really convoluted. And then when you sit down and actually have conversations with people and talk about context and why these people are in power and how did they become in power and what, then you get the conversations that Nick and Professor Griff were having, right? And it's an interesting conversation, and it's only in your best interest to go do your own research, right? Start with the word Semitic. Start there. And you tell me, how can black people be anti-Semitic? If I was Nick Cannon, I would say, point out where I was anti-Semitic. So if I'm telling you that that's me, how are you telling me I'm being anti-me? I would sue them. And that's just what it would be. And the fact that he has money, he can say to Viacom, CBS, go fuck yourself. I'll take my money, I'll take my business elsewhere. You're not going to take me off of YouTube. You're not going to take me off of wherever. And it's okay. If my words and ideas don't align with your company's mission, that's why I tell people all the time, you on Facebook, y'all be so happy you have jobs, and you put your jobs in your profile, and then you have these crazy ideas that don't align with the job that you're representing by putting on your profile. So you can get fired if your views don't align with the company that you are representing on your Facebook page or any page that you have. I be looking at people like, y'all crazy. Y'all be wearing y'all things with your company's logos on it and stuff like that. I'll be like, oh, okay. If your views don't align with your company's mission statement, baby, you out of here. That's why you got to say, oh, my views are my own. I don't endorse, or whatever the hell that people put on their thing. I put my views are my own. Everybody should put their views are their own, because if you have in your profile your job, that means you're representing them. You should take it out. That's what I tell people. Take your job. Good, great. We glad you have a job. Unless you go on LinkedIn or something like that. If you want to network with people of your field, and you think Facebook is not the place for that, honey, because they give you too much character. They need to cut off the character limit on Facebook, because it just really, the more you talk, the longer you talk, the longer you have to type your thoughts out, the bigger the foot you're gonna put in your damn mouth. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Take care of each other. Protect your energy. Ooh, that was 45 minutes. I'm out. Peace.